Our next conversation explores the incredible culinary connections that unite Africa, the Caribbean, Latin America, and the American South through food, entrepreneurship, and culture. So joining us for this conversation is an extraordinary lineup of chefs, entrepreneurs, and cultural storytellers who continue to shape the global food landscape. Our moderator, Barku Tubman, is a respected storyteller and entrepreneur whose work celebrates African culture, identity, and innovation. Let's give it up for Barku. Hey. And she is so stylish and she is so fun. She is joined by an incredible panel, including Kevin Lakai, founder of Black Leaf Organic Vodka, whose Ghanaian roots and commitment to authentic African craftsmanship are helping redefine the premium spirits industry. Let's give it up for Kevin Lakai. Looking good in that brown, okay? Prince Lobo, chef and founder of Aris Nola, where Ethiopian flavors and New Orleans traditions come together in unforgettable ways. He was just out here making some shrimp and grits his special way. Welcome, Prince Lobo. There he is. 2 minutes? You need 2 minutes? Oh, you got it. Okay. Looking good, looking good. All right, and last but certainly not least, Chef Nima coming all the way from Shreveport. She was also on stage making some delicious shrimp and grits. Let's give it up for Chef Nima. Yes, I will leave it to you, Barku.
Hey. Oh, this is so cool that you all just did this whole amazing cooking thing. I'm in the back telling them, please make sure you keep me some, because when I go back there, I'm definitely going to be eating some. Thank you, all three of you for joining us today. But I'm going to start with introductions, right? So we're going to start with you. Introduce yourselves and tell them about this vodka and, you know, and all that you have going on.
All right, perfect. I think this is working. Can y'all hear me? All right, so my name is Kevin Lakai. So I was born in Nigeria to Ghanaian parents. I grew up in Botswana. So I'm a true son of the continent. And then I found my way to the U.S. I'm the founder of Black Leaf, and kind of what the inspiration behind it is the things that we drive commercially, we should own. So that's what spearheaded that alongside some other things, very much thinking about what we could do on the continent, how to platform certain products. So happy to have this conversation with my fellow panelists.
Awesome. So next, we're gonna go to Chef Prince and let you tell us about yourself. Uh-oh.
I felt like I did a lot of talking earlier.
You did a lot of talking. I missed it, though.
Cool, but it's cool. My name is Prince Lobo from Addis Nola. Michelin recommended Ethiopian food in New Orleans, one of 7 in the entire planet. Family business, 7 years, almost a decade in business. On Bayou Road, the historic Bayou Road, the first street in New Orleans, with 9 other black businesses. Born in Angola, and I was raised in New Orleans my entire life. So when I tell people I was born in Angola, they normally think I was born in the prison. But I have to clarify that I was not a product of conjugal visits, but in fact, born in the country of Angola, which in fact was named after kings. The name Angola means king, and so the name that prison after a lot of the people who were brought from West Africa to name it the prison king is, you know, a twist on their own game. So from Angola, Ethiopian mother, a decade in the industry with the Ethiopian restaurant, and yeah, that's it.
That's amazing. See, you talked earlier, but I didn't know that. You know, we're learning you guys. And then last but not least, the queen of the stage, who is from Sierra Leone and got some peanut butter stuff going on back there that I can't wait to go and try. There you go.
I see all the guys have their products.
No,
I'm
I saw you. I was like,
right
Mama
now.
was like, listen, wait, we're going to have to make it look pretty too, so hold on.
Thank you, sister.
We got to listen. We're going to put it in the center.
Yes, there
you
you
got to
go.
make sure. Yeah,
Thank you, sister. Thank you.
Absolutely.
Thank you. Thank you.
Must.
Well, good afternoon or good morning. My name is Chef Nima Tulai de Grazier. I am originally born and raised in Sierra Leone. From Sierra Leone, but now I live in Shreveport, Louisiana, the mecca of food. Prince will say otherwise, but I'll say up north,
we don't cook for tourists. We cook like we're cooking for our mom and dads.
And she says north, like North Louisiana.
Northwest Louisiana, baby. I moved here 13 years ago, and I started the very first West African and Caribbean restaurant in Shreveport. And I'm just so excited to be a part of this panel to discuss everything diaspora and how amazing our food is. And I'm just excited to be in New Orleans. Again, my name is Chef Nima the Grazier, since he's pushing the Michelin, the one and only that beat Bobby Flay and beat him on Chopped as well.
That part.
Not too much.
I feel like I want you guys to go back and forth and tell me like Shreveport, New Orleans, and why you say it, you know, it's the capital or not. But I'm gonna get to that at the end of the stage, because both of y'all just came off the stage and doing it. But one of the beautiful things about Black food culture is that it constantly evolving while staying rooted in tradition. How has your own cultural background shaped the way you think about food today?
Me? For me, it is staying true to the culture. You know, when it comes to food, they have taken it, ran with it, make it theirs. So what I try to do is be the 1% that stay true to the culture. Don't try to be nobody else or try to make it French or try to make it Asian. I stay true to our ingredients, to the flavors, because that always speaks for itself. Our food has a place at every table.
Oh, I love that. That is I really like that, by the way. I couldn't agree with you more. I could not agree with you more. Let's hear from you. Like how has your own culture background shaped the way you think about food today?
Well, I love that question so much because I think the way that we experience Blackness, right? Like everybody says, we're not a monolith. We're so many things, and it's so many different things that are all connected, but still respectfully different, but still similar and connected. I think being born in Africa, but being raised in the deep South, you know, being raised in that, you know, Louisiana is still a slave state from my perspective. And New Orleans tries to operate outside of that, but still in many ways embedded in that. Being born in Africa has allowed me to see Black culture for the global culture that it is, not just something in the 7th Ward, not just something in Treme, or, you know, whatever neighborhood, French Quarter, Uptown, New Orleans. I can see culture in Treme, I can see culture in the 7th Ward and pinpoint directly where it could be connected to in Africa, you know? So that's the type of lens that I look at whenever I'm looking at Black culture. Again, up until I really was like 21, I really was living in New Orleans just like anyone else. But it was until I really went to Africa and really put my feet on the ground that I felt and I saw how big we really are. Like I said, you might be uptown, but at the same time, culturally and artistically and creatively, you touch the world, you know? Just from cooking in your grandma's kitchen, hot plate, $20 fish plates. You know what I mean? It's like, it's literally global cuisine in somebody's grandma's kitchen. And we don't see ourselves like that, unfortunately. So my goal is to just help other people have that same perspective.
I love that because it's so true. It's Africa to the world. And I'm curious, when you went to Africa for the first time, what country did you go to?
So I went to the prison that I was born in, Angola. And I'll say that because it is a prison. I mean, my people, only 80% of the people in the country that I was born, or 80% of the people in the country that I was born live on less than $1 a day.
Yeah.
The local government has stolen everything, finance resources from the local people. So you see a big, stark dissonance between the culture. There's no middle. Middle class.
Yep.
You get poverty, which the food is fire, but you get poverty, and then the next street over, you're going to see G-Wagons, Bentleys, penthouse villas like we in Miami turning up another night. And then you go the next couple streets, and it's literally like the back alleys, you know? And in many ways, sometimes New Orleans is like that as well, too.
Yeah.
But Angola, it's really... it's been poverty-stricken for a very long time.
Yeah, I think that's a lot of Africa, right? You know, it's the leadership problem, right? Because, and I think that's why these conversations and what you all are doing is so important, because thankfully now with social media and, you know, like we say, you can, the whole world is on your phone. You get to see people that look like you doing things that those very amazing meals that you talk about show up on stages like this. But I'm going to ask you the same question because you have, you know, a vodka brand that is also rooted from your Ghanaian, you know, heritage. And so, like, why was that important for you to make sure that it stayed true to your heritage?
Yeah, so I mean, you know, when I think about the taste of the diaspora, right? So it starts from, you got all these indigenous products. If you go to West Africa, we have something called akbeteshi, which is palm wine that's distilled, right? If you go to the same thing as in Nigeria, it's called ogogoro. And you've got all these different things which are very much the taste of the diaspora. But I think we've evolved where the taste of the diaspora is really what comes from the mind of the diaspora. So just as much as the indigenous product, I think this is very much from the mind of someone from the diaspora. So elements that I would say with this brand, so it's a French organic vodka, and a lot of times when people think of organic, it's a brown paper label is boring. But we've got style, so we incorporate our style into that, so we make organic sexy, right? So even the name, the black speaks to black excellence and sophistication. So it's just putting our flavor into what it is that we create. And I think there's a great opportunity, like you said, Africa to the world, to look at that from a lot of very different angles.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I'm from Liberia originally too, so I am that part, see? I no, because I actually think that the world is finally catching up to what we already knew about our influence, about, you know, the taste, the style, the fashion. It is now that's happening, and music has been leading that. Fashion is catching up, and I think food is great. So, of course, I don't want to ever hear about another jollof war, because, you know, I'm not going to say where. But I think, you know, I think the beauty of what that did was get people to pay attention, right? Because, to your point, we've been eating this food forever. It is literally a regular thing to have a home-cooked 5-star meal every day in African nations and homes. And I don't care how poor you are, you ate that good, right? You ate that good. So, you know, we've seen the appreciation of the African and Caribbean cuisine grow so much in the past decades. But what excites you all the most about where diaspora cuisine is headed next?
For me, I'm excited for the future. You know, girls around the world will look at me and say, Chef Nima is making a change, right? When you think about food around the world, you hear Nigeria, you hear Ghana, you never hear Sierra Leone, but we have the best jollof, by the way. Let's just settle it right now.
I was trying not to go there as a Liberian, you know what I mean?
The best jollof, okay? The best jollof, and end of story. But, you know, we used to eat these things, but here in America now it is fine-tuned, where it's elevated. You know, they've made it into this posh thing, which I love, okay? I love it. This is something that I grew up on, and to see it, you know, having my brother here being recognized in the Michelin Guide, seeing Dakar Nola, seeing Compere La Pen, you know, restaurants are making big waves, and our food is taking up space. It is absolutely amazing. And as a chef who is self-taught, you know, who did not go to school for this craft, and I'm just so passionate, I just want his daughter to look at me and not struggle about our cuisine. So we're taking the world by storm. I hope they're ready. We're taking our food back, basically. It is ours, and we're taking it back.
You're taking your food back. You're taking your taste back. But I think, you know, when you talk about staying true to the taste, right? Yeah. And you think of, you know, like a Dakar, Noir, and then you think of all these. I think part of the beauty of it is you have to have what you're doing. Yep. I think the other way also invites people to taste something they didn't even know they needed in their lives. And I think that's what you all are doing by bringing Michelin into what you know is true. So what are you excited about when you think of like African, Caribbean cuisine like next? Like what does the next look like for you?
I think, you know, to add to Chef Nima's point, I think the next thing for African cuisine is just to continue to be recognized as the #1 cuisine on the face of the earth. And when I talk about African cuisine, I'm not just talking about Africa. I'm talking about black food in America. You know, that's also African cuisine from my perspective, just with my upbringing. People need to understand that literally everything is a derivative of what we have already created. You know, with that being an understanding, I just need to see African food, black food, continuously and just unanimously be understood as the #1 cuisine on the face of the earth. Yeah. I ain't worried about the French. Nope, we ain't really worried about them. We not worried about the Italian. It's African food and it's black food, and everything else is, you know, is everything else. It's how I'm feeling.
And it's our food. It's just attached to a fancy name. They take it and make it their own and give it a bougie name, but it is our food, and we're coming back for it.
I love that. And I actually love how you talk about, you know, black in Africa, because I think that is something that I want people to understand, that we're really not different, right? You know, it really is. And it is the same, right? You will go to all of the different countries that we're all from, and you'll still see collard greens. But Southern blacks, they cook it the way they cook it. We cook it the way you cook it, the way you cook it. And I think that's the beauty of it, is none of it is a monolith. The beauty of, which is why we talk about who's invited to the cookout with the potato salad, right? Because one thing you know, if it's cooked in a black home, it's gonna be tasty, right? It's gonna be tasty. Now the interesting thing is, you know, Africans, most Africans, a lot of Africans, we like to celebrate. The good time is a part of who we are, what we do. There's food, there's gonna be drinks. You know, if there's food, there's gonna be drinks. So, you know, you coming up with, you know, your beverage brand, you know, with the stories. One, like, what responsibility comes with you representing your culture? You know, at this, you talk about organic, but you also talk about what it represents to you, right? It's made in France, but you specifically made sure your heritage is showing here. What is that responsibility that you feel when you think about putting this together?
Yeah, I mean, I think the responsibility for all of us in this day and age is ownership, right? The things that we drive commercially, we should own. So be it, you know, if you're on the continent and platforming all these exciting liquids, giving them a passport, because there's a whole history about how a lot of these indigenous spirits were banned. So it allowed, you know, foreign imports to come and dominate locally. So I think giving those indigenous spirits their platform and their passport is critical. And then beyond that, I kind of want to see us, you know, if you go to Nigeria right now or Accra, they're drinking tequila. They're drinking vodka. They're drinking all these things. What does George Clooney know about Mexico? He doesn't, right? He just had a flavor profile and he introduced it globally. So why doesn't Burna Boy have a tequila? Why doesn't Davido? So these are the kind of things that get me excited. And I think that's the room where culturally our influence can show up in the spirits game.
So what I love about that is because it is about ownership, right? I always say, you know, Chef Nima, if you were not cooking African food, right, and you were still an amazing chef, by virtue of the fact who you are, where you're from, it belongs to you.
Yes.
You know what I mean? And so I think that's the beauty of the diaspora. It doesn't have to be just the African, when we say it that way, it's that ownership piece. And that's what's beautiful about what all three of you are doing, is the different ways that you can choose to do it. And just because you don't do it in that way doesn't mean it's not a part of your heritage, because your success is what our ancestors, is our grandmothers and our mothers prayed for every day. And I love when you talk about Sierra Leone, because, you know, Liberia is just as small and we can drive to each other.
My sister.
My sister. But I mean, that is like, it's this level of responsibility, right? When you proudly live in a whole other country and put your country on your back. Whether it's through entrepreneurship, whether it's through the food, whether it's through the fashion. You know, many of your careers have been built by honoring tradition while embracing innovation. How do you decide, like, what should remain sacred and where there's room to evolve? And I'm gonna start with you, Chef Prince.
Well, you saw me grab that
Yeah,
mic
listen,
quick.
that's why I was like, let me just toss it to him really quick.
What do you preserve and where do you create room to evolve?
Yeah.
I think one of the things about the world, the only thing that is inevitable is change.
Yes.
And that's where the beauty of life exists,
Yes.
is embracing change, embracing fluidity. So for me, the core of that is like, let's keep our core values unmovable. Let's keep our community. Let's keep our food, like healthy foods. Let's keep our family structure. Let's keep our economics rigid, but everything else, let's be fluid in the way that we think of clothes. This right here is a perfect example. The pants that I'm wearing and even the shirt. This is Malcolm Karinga, okay? It's a young gentleman, heritage from Kenya, but like 5 generations New Orleans, right? So he has a shop here. He has a fabric shop here, but these fabrics are from West Africa. So we took the fabrics and we turned them into a pants this morning. We did this morning.
No way.
I swear. Got up at like 5 in the morning and we had these fabrics and we got it done, So shout out to him for that. But that's a part of where the fluidity of the creativity was like, we got a spark, we have the fabrics, let's find a way to present what we have that exists in a different way to, again, just connect. And at the end of the day, I think that's what the overall goal should be for everything outside of keeping our family structure, keeping our community structure, keeping our economics moving. We need to connect with one another. And for far too long, we've been divided and conquered. And it's time to connect and take over. That's what we need to do.
I love that. And you know what? So, first of all, I encourage everybody to get on a plane and go to Africa, to an African country. Like, please do yourself that favor. Because that very pant that was made this morning, there are so many tailors, right? That you can say, you can show them a Chanel dress, give them the fabric, they will make it for you. And that's that creativity. And so a cousin and an advisor, and a confidant of mine has this company he calls Black Drive. And he says it's not about driving cars. It's his IP he owns, and it's called Black Drive because the Black Drive is a little bit different. That drive of being black, and I don't even care if you're from Africa or America, it just is a little bit different because you've got to fight to survive. So, before we have to close out, if someone leaves the festival inspired to learn more about African diaspora food and wines and entrepreneurs, what's the very first dish? And I'm not going to go to the chefs. I'm going to come to you, the Ghana, Botswana, Nigerian guy. Like, what is the very first dish that you would tell them to go experience?
Man, I got to go jollof. I got to go jollof and kelewele, which is like a fried plantain. I think that is obviously West African, but that is something that I'd say to start with. And it's all through West Africa, so everybody has a different spin on it, but that's a good way to get introduced.
Okay,
and Ghana has the best jollof, by the way.
Oh my God, there you go. And I was trying to leave it alone. So Chef Nima, I'm gonna ask you, what ingredient should they, like if they gotta leave here and go experience anything, what ingredient would you recommend they try?
I'd say cassava because it tells a story with the United States or America, and it tells a story. You can resonate with it, right? Because when you go to like a Mexican restaurant, you get to eat, they call it yuca.
Yes.
And cassava is such a unique and beautiful root that turns, imagine seeing a root laying down and you can turn it into fufu. The way jollof has taken over the world, right? The conversation that surrounds around jollof, it is the same way cassava is. So I'll say cassava because cassava is not just the roots that we eat the leaves too, and it's such a delicious
That's right.
dish.
One of my favorites.
I mean, I cook that so well, by the way. Very well. Yeah.
I'm coming.
I'll say
coming.
cassava. It's unique. You can eat it with soup. You can eat it with, you can make it into fufu, which I did on TV with Prince on Chopped. So I'll go with cassava because even if you're just visiting for the first time and you're not used to the unique flavors of the country, you can eat roasted cassava with butter. See what I'm saying?
Yeah,
so that's a
absolutely.
very amazing roots. I'll say try cassava.
Love that. So Prince, because you are so passionate, I'm going to ask you this. If someone leaves this festival inspired to learn about the African diaspora through food, what's the experience you would encourage them to explore? And you better say the Essence Food and Wine Festival.
You just took the words out of my mouth. Now, a couple of things. We're gonna do a couple. We're gonna make this a call to action. Okay. We're gonna do the high price point experience. We're gonna do the mid, and then we're gonna do what you could do today, or what you already have done today is be here with us. You know, that was the first step. So I would say to take it a step further, tap in with all of us. If you're curious about the culture, you're curious about the food, follow our restaurant, Addisnola, Addisnola on Instagram. Follow Chef
Nima's West African and Caribbean cuisine.
How are you spelling Nima? Because I want them to find you.
Niema''S. West African.
Niema''S.
Yes.
Nima. And then follow
Black Leaf Vodka. on
Black
Instagram.
Leaf Vodka. That's the first call to action. That's the first tier. All right, we in that tier. We already could check that off the box. Addisnola.
Where's your phones?
Chef.
Get the
Everybody
phones
take
out.
your phone out.
Yes.
There you go.
And we'll follow you
And they're
back.
about to kick
And we're
us
gonna
off
follow
the
you
stage,
back.
but we are having
We got
so
a
much
fire
fun
sale
here.
going.
We
I already follow way too many people, but we're gonna follow y'all back. Follow our pages, connect
Yes,
with us. That's the
please.
first call to action.
Thank
The second tier, we're gonna take it a step further, let's just go straight from what we're doing now. Just go to Africa. Once you connect with us, once you connect with our culture, our food, go to Addisnola, the restaurant in New Orleans while y'all are here. Go to the continent. I know the tickets are $1,500. I know it feels like a big leap of faith. Even myself, I had to get shipped back to Africa in order to end up there. So find someone that you know that might know someone. You know me, so you can hit me up directly and we can tap you in with somebody. But don't go to the continent without a contact first and foremost. It is another world. It is another reality. It is similar but very different. So please have a contact whenever you go to Africa. The English-speaking countries are a little easier. Ghana, Kenya, Nigeria,
Liberia.
a little easier, but
Liberia,
still,
Sierra Leone.
the English-speaking countries are a little bit easier, but still Africans. So find a contact, hit her up, go with her, go visit her family, go hang out. You'll be treated royally. You'll be treated like the kings and queens that we are, and that's really important. So top tier is put that $1,500 away, buy that flight, call a friend, and pull up for 2 weeks to a month. You're going to need that much time to really soak yourself into the soil, and you probably would not want to leave. And then the first thing is just follow us, come to the restaurant. If you're in Shreveport, come pull up to her theater that she just bought, that she got a part of the business this year, Ashley Singer Theater in Shreveport.
Yes.
And then buy some Black Leaf Vodka. We here.
Do we get to try the vodka today?
Yeah, we're going to try it
Crack
backstage.
that open.
So everybody give it up for our amazing panelists. I see my beautiful Piper, Skylar, and KJ, my triplets in front. They lived in Liberia.
Oh, amazing.
So beautiful. So
Y'all
beautiful.
are so beautiful.
Thank you, guys. I'm about to go back and try some of that food.
Please do. And I stayed true to the culture, and I gave them peanut butter stew.
That
with
part.
grits.
I
Yes,
needed it with
girl.
some fufu, though. Can I
Yes.
get some in the background?
It does, right?
All right, thank y'all so much. Give them another round of applause. And they're going to stand here for a photo real quick, but give it up for the chefs and the panelists. We have another wonderful conversation coming up in just a little bit.